my last example is Marcus. Now, Marcus is a 23-year-old male. He just graduated college, and in college, he was an offensive lineman. He, like many offensive linemen, was a big guy. He's 6'4" and 310 pounds. 310 pounds. And from a progress picture, it seems like he's about 35, maybe even 40% body fat. Now, his goal is a good one. He's just graduated from college. He's not going to the NFL or anything, so he's no longer playing football. He doesn't need to be a 310-pound offensive lineman. But he just wants to lose some extra weight for the sake of his health. His goal weight is 240 pounds, which is a good weight for him. Now, he is used to lifting weights and practicing football 5 times per week for hours a day. He is motivated by the fact that he has family members who have had health issues due to their weight, and he doesn't want to turn out like that. He wants to have good health. And he worries, his main obstacle is since that he's no longer playing college football and he's not going to have coaches anymore, that, he won't know what to do and he won't be motivated to do it. He has experience playing football since middle school. He has access to a commercial gym now that he's graduated, and he is used to spending 3 hours a day practicing. He does have history of a torn Achilles, but is okay right now, and he lives only a few minutes from his gym. Now, moving on to nutrition, he does not have any metabolic illnesses. He spends $60 to $75 on groceries each week. He's beginning to work, just graduated college, so maybe he can spend a little bit more money than some of our other examples. He eats 4 meals a day, and he snacks pretty often. He's used to eating at the school cafeteria. He does use protein shakes daily. He does not have any allergies. He doesn't really have any food dislikes, and he does not follow any special food patterns. He tells me that he's willing to change whatever he needs to. Now, he's used to getting his protein from protein shakes, eggs, milk, ground beef, and chicken. His favorite vegetables are salads, carrots, and celery. His favorite fruits are bananas, watermelon, and grapes. And he has 3 to 4 alcoholic drinks each week. Now, he sent me a full day of eating, but it was a full day of eating from back when he played football. And so he relies heavily on the school cafeteria and the student athlete nutrition center, where you can get free snacks and grab-and-go things to eat during classes. His full day of eating goes as follows. For breakfast, he has a muffin, a banana, and a protein shake from the football meal room. In the morning, he has a snack of trail mix, string cheese, and a Gatorade. For lunch, he goes to Chipotle, and he gets a burrito with chips and guac. Then he has an afternoon snack of 2 granola bars and beef jerky. And then for dinner at the school cafeteria, he has a pretty big portion of pasta with chicken and Alfredo sauce. He has a salad, and he has 2 brownies. Now, that might not sound too bad. He's eating a lot. He's a big guy. He's a football player. At his height and weight and activity level, currently his total daily energy expenditure could be between 4 and 4.5 thousand. So he's burning a lot of calories. However, this is when, again, he's doing 2 practices a day. He's doing a weight lift with his team, and he's doing a football practice with his team. So as he lowers his activity level, his total daily energy expenditure could go down to 3,600. Now, the full day of eating that I just described to you is 4,800 calories, 250 grams of protein, 535 grams of carbs, 195 grams of fat, and, believe it or not, is still deficient in vitamin C, even though he's eating so much. Now, what I would like to do with his diet is a pretty big change. He's going to be in a different environment. He doesn't have access to the school cafeteria. He doesn't have access to the football meal room. He really is going to have to be cooking and providing the meals for himself, and his activity level is probably going to go down pretty low. Now, if you remember from last episode about manipulating body composition, healthy weight loss can be about 1% of a person's body weight each week. Now, a common guideline is 1 to 2 pounds, but 1% works because if are 2 pounds is a pretty fast weight loss, but if you're less than 200 pounds, you're 150 pounds, 1% is 1.5 pounds. So maybe for you at that lower body weight to try and lose 2 pounds a week, though possible, would be a little too much. But then in his case, he weighs 300 pounds. So 1% of his body weight is 3 pounds, which means because he's so big, he could lose 3 pounds a week and, still stay pretty healthy. Now, his goal weight is 240 pounds, so that's about 70 pounds. So if he loses about 3 pounds a week, it could take him, 23 weeks to do. And that's, a long time, but it's a 70-pound weight loss. 6 months of hard work makes sense, right? To lose that big amount of weight. And then even 240 pounds for him, it really isn't the end goal. It's 6'4", 220 pounds even probably is a little healthier. Now, we don't know how much muscle he has. It's hard to tell at this high body weight. So that's something that we would reevaluate later. But because he has so much weight, he can lose it pretty fast and get down to his goal weight in about 6 months. Now, for his new style of eating, the thing that I think would be pretty beneficial for him is, I say intermittent fasting, but it's not quite intermittent fasting. It's a style similar to intermittent fasting that I prefer to do, which is pretty much where you eat a very small breakfast so that you can save your calories for later in the day. So what I'm going to have him do for breakfast is just have a protein shake with skim milk. So protein powder and skim milk. And then if he wants, he can have some sort of caffeine. He can have a black coffee. He can have an energy drink, whatever his preferred source of caffeine is. That could be very beneficial for him in keeping up his non-exercise activity thermogenesis and, just having the energy that he needs to go on about his day. Now, before lunch, perhaps in the late morning, he can have a snack of watermelon and celery. Both of those foods he's told me that he likes, and they're very, very voluminous. So you can have a lot of watermelon and a lot of celery for very little calories. So that's what I'd like for him to do, is have a snack of watermelon and celery in the morning. For lunch, I want him to have actually something pretty similar to what he's used to. He said that he went to Chipotle for lunch when he was playing football. So what I'm going to have him do is have sort of a just burrito bowl. So he's going to have some chicken breast. He's going to have some cilantro rice. He's going to have some beans and some corn mixed together with some salsa on a bowl. And he can have a little bit of light ranch dressing with it. It's going to be high in protein. It's going to be high in fiber. It's going to be, again, pretty similar. And I think burrito bowls are pretty good. You can make them healthy in this way without, them tasting pretty bad like a lot of other foods. So he should be able to enjoy it well and still get a lot of benefit from this meal. Then he's going to have an afternoon snack of grapes, half of an apple sliced up, and then carrots. And that's, again, just going to give him a lot of volume, a lot of some fiber, and some just nutrients, phytochemicals from those fruits and vegetables so that he gets all the health benefits from it. He's reaching those micronutrient targets. And he has, again, some carbs to help him get throughout the day. The grapes and the apple are going to be pretty sweet. The carrots are going to take a while to snack on, so you can just have something to, snack on. Some people just really enjoy having something to chew and snack on throughout their day. Then for dinner, I'm going to have him have a 12-ounce sirloin steak. Sirloin is pretty lean. Maybe if he really wanted to spend some money on it, he could get something like filet mignon. Filet mignon is very, very lean, so it is actually a great diet food, though, of course, very expensive. We're going to say a 12-ounce sirloin steak for his sake, so it can be relatively cheaper, a little more expensive, of course, than other cuts of meat, but should be pretty yummy. No one's really complaining about steak. Of course, he's going to have a little bit of oil that he's going to cook that in. He's going to have some roasted potatoes, and he is going to have a spinach salad with his dinner. And then for dessert, this is something that I would definitely recommend to him and everybody. Again, everyone who can hear me and everyone under the sound of my voice. Popsicles are an amazing dessert. It's something that I use all the time. I have a popsicle or two pretty much every day. Just because they're very, very cheap. They're very, very affordable. But believe it or not, popsicles are actually pretty low calorie. Now, you might just think, they're frozen sugar water. How can that be the case? But most popsicles, of course, there are exceptions, but most popsicles only have about 40, 50 calories, especially if you've ever heard of the swirl sticks popsicles. Those have the cotton candy flavor. They're very, very iconic from my childhood, at least. And those are only 45 calories, but they really, really will hit your sweet tooth, and you really, really can enjoy this sweet thing at the end of your day. Some other things that I would tell him to do is he's probably used to having things like Gatorade and drinks at the cafeteria and in the football room. I would encourage him to drink Gatorade Zero or have diet sodas to, again, help with sweet cravings, kind of because he might be in the habit of having things like that throughout the day. Sort of grab it and have it in your bag, sip on it throughout the day. Now, this new diet that I have written out for him is 2,500 calories. So it's going to kind of depend where his activity level is. I'm going to recommend to him that he find some way to be active. Maybe he plays, a recreational football league. Maybe he starts coaching. Maybe he just finds a new hobby that he enjoys being active in. But then with this, it could be 1,000, it could be 1,200, it could be 1,500 calorie deficit in a day. It's also 220 grams of protein, 260 grams of carbs, and 67 grams of fat. Now, admittedly, this diet is deficit in vitamin E. Again, as I've told you, it's kind of hard to get vitamin E when you're really trying to control calories, as we are in this case. So he could add in the almonds, he could add in the sunflower seeds, at the exchange of that 150 calories, or he could supplement it. And with that, he's going to reach his goal, hopefully in, 6 to 8 months at this point.